Hey, Rob, so why would someone want a law firm that's willing to go to trial?
I think the question is, why would you want something else?
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of pressure you can apply to the other side. And if we're talking about a significant case, a catastrophic case in particular, how are you going to apply pressure to the defense, to their insurance company, unless they know you're willing to go to the mat and try a case?
Yeah, because there are a lot of law firms that are shy or don't want to go to trial because it's too much work, it's too expensive, and that's not our law firm, is it?
No, it's not, and I don't blame those other firms. That's okay that they do what they do, maybe tee it up for a firm like ours if they have to go to trial. But I think if they know from the get-go that you're a trial attorney firm, that you do trials, you're not afraid of taking those risks, that's a better space to be in.
Yeah, because I think from the other side's perspective, if they think that you're willing to go to battle all the way and get a judgment, verdict against them, they're going to think twice.
And I also think that your reputation matters. And you can be a firm that just kind of grinds through these cases, grinds through them, and you're gonna get those results for your clients.
Sure. And I think that ultimately the result that you get is then advertised, if you will, to other law firms and insurance companies that you're willing to go all the way. And that, again, I'm reiterating, that makes a big difference when they're evaluating the case at every stage of the case, from pre-litigation to litigation, and then when you go to trial. And then as you're gearing up for trial, all of a sudden the numbers change because they know that you've got your act together and that you're prepared to go to trial.
Here's one way of looking at it. When I talk to associates or newer lawyers about what we do, I'll say something like, there's everything we do as lawyers. There's evaluating a case, signing up a case, prosecuting that case, doing the discovery, cross-examining people at deposition, all that stuff. There's all that in this basket here. And then there's trial. Completely different animal. You're taking things out of this little basket here in order to do this, but really this is a completely different thing.
Yeah, it's almost like a funnel where you start with a lot of medical records and what you call discovery, which is written questions, and deposition, which is testimony under oath, and then it funnels down into more of a concise, very operative and compelling story at trial.
I don't think you have much of a story to tell until you're now thinking of in those terms, that I have to present this to a group of strangers. They're going to have this very limited time to get to know my client, to get to know their story. And now you have to think about that. And your example of a funnel is pretty apt. I often think of it as more like a still, like a whiskey still, right? And you got kind of like moonshine, and you got this, whatever is in the still, all these ingredients, and now it's going through this thing, and then boom, little drops, little tiny drops, and those little tiny drops from this giant vat of whatever is in the other thing, that's what you're giving to this group of strangers who are going to hopefully be interested enough to put aside all their whatever's going on in their lives and think about this other person and do right by them and give them justice.
Right.
And that's the whole thing, and that's why it's such a difficult thing to do. Not too many people can do it, and we're always learning. Here we are at this stage of the game, and we're still learning.
Every day. That's what the beauty of law and practicing law is, that you learn something new every day from your colleagues, from workshops, and all those things we do. But
there's no substitute, and I've said this before, there's you can go to all the workshops, or you can do all this, do all that. There is no substitute for being in the trenches and trying a case. That's when you learn what works and what doesn't work. And it can be a pretty brutal process, learning process. But that's what we do.
That's right.